How you doing, brothers? Yeah, I'm good, thanks be to God. Good to see you. You both Christians?
Yeah.
Good. Can I give you some advice, fellas? This is not a playground. This is not a place to come for some Saturday entertainment.
I've seen the videos on like soccer.
Yeah, but this place, what I'm trying to say to you is, it's a real battleground where Christians are making converts, but there are also Christians who are losing their salvation in this park, right? Don't come here naively, is what I want to say to you. Don't come here thinking that the Dawagandists aren't here to capture your soul, right?
I say I'm strong to my faith.
Good.
I'm already trying, actually.
Yeah, but my point is, I'm just saying always while you're in this place, be guarding your heart, because the heart is the wellspring of life. Yeah? And you should preserve and protect it. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? So make sure that you don't allow yourself to be manipulated emotionally, psychologically, or in terms of argument. Don't stake anything of your ego. Yeah?
Are you Catholic?
I don't care about denominations, bro.
Do you go to any church?
Yes, I do.
So what church is that?
It's a Christian church. Don't believe in denominations, bro. Correct. I'm ecumenical. So I'll go to a Roman Catholic church, I'll go to an Orthodox church, I'll go to a Presbyterian church, a Pentecostal church. So long as Christ is glorified, the Trinity is worshipped, and they believe in Christian doctrine.
Do you think all Christians should work together and
Yes.
be friends with each other?
Yes.
Yes, I believe that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's not possible for us to agree about everything. So where we can't agree, we need to disagree in love. And I think that too easily Christians fall into the idea of saying that things are heresies when they're not heresies. They're just errors, you know? And I think that we need to introduce categories in the way of our thinking so that we don't just fall out with people because they don't see things the same way that we do. So let me give you some examples. So one example would be, do we use flat bread or leavened bread at the communion? Do we use alcoholic wine or non-alcoholic wine at communion? Should we serve just the bread or the bread and the wine? All of these questions have a right and wrong answer. But I would say that they are first category errors. They're not things worth falling out about. Let me give you another example. A category 2 kind of errors are things like, do we have 66 books in the Bible or 72 books in the Bible or 83 books in the Bible? Well, this is an important question. And there are different answers to that question, but we don't need to fall out about it because we all share the same 27 books of the New Testament. But then there's third category errors, which someone can hold whilst being a Christian, that the error themselves is unchristian. So can we bless gay marriage, for instance? Can we celebrate someone's transgender journey in a liturgy? Can we declare Muhammad as a savior of the world? These are errors that I would fall out with another Christian about, right? Even though they might still be a Christian themselves, I wouldn't go to communion in such a church. And after that third category of error, then you have heresy. And heresy is when you deny the incarnation or the Trinity or something that is absolutely fundamental to the Christian faith. Yeah? Go on, Francis, you wanted to... Sorry, he's had his hand up.
Yeah, you already said no to me. You already did. Do you like me or do you not like me?
I do like you, bro. Yeah, but your timing's just awful. Like you ask questions. You ask questions after I've moved on. You just jump in at the wrong moments.
See how unfriendly Bob is.
I'm not unfriendly with you, bro. This is northern humor.
Excuse me, I grew up in Sheffield. I know northern humor.
Yeah.
Right. Anyways, question set. So in regards to Christians, like in all honesty, I'm not going to name because you know already. What would you say to everyone? Because there's a lot of people saying there's a lot of disunity between Christians in the park. What one message in the most concise manner you would say to all those Christians? They need to really look within themselves and stop literally fulfilling the prophecy that is in the Quran that all the Christians will be against each other till the end of the time.
Yeah, so my message to Christians is this. What is more important to you? saving lost souls or fighting with one another? What's more important to you, that we stop Islamization or we argue about, which books of the Bible to read? Let's have a sense of priority. There are some things that are more important than others, and we judge them based upon how they are helping or harming the church, and divisions along sectarian lines are harming the church. I'm not saying there aren't real differences, but those differences we can argue after we've stopped the Islamists from imposing Sharia law on us, after we've stopped the liberals from imposing liberal progressive values on us. Let's fight the really important battles more than the battles that are less important. Go on.
Thank you, sir.
All right, no worries.
Love me.
I do love you, bro.
Sure,
You're just sensitive.
Yeah, excuse me?
You're just sensitive.
Of course I am.
I do love you.
That is me. That's me.
Yeah, I know you are. I know you are.
So yeah, love me.
Yeah, go on.
You love me.
I do love you. Go on.
Is God male or female?
God is neither male nor female.
So is Jesus
Sorry, I'm
transgender?
doing... Sorry.
Is Jesus transgender?
Sorry.
Is the original non-binary?
Sorry, 1 second. Right, 1 second.
Answered your question.
No, go on, sir. Go on, bro.
So, do you have any? I was just walking around thinking, like, what if there was Christians all together as a group?
Yeah.
Here, do you have any group that, like, do you think there should be a group like? Because I feel like the Christians in this park right now are kind of somewhat divided. They haven't been seen of different
Actually,
places.
there's a lot of unity amongst the Christians here in the park. Actually,
I'm very new
there's
to this.
there's one or two outliers.
Okay.
There's one or two outliers who want to develop their own reputation.
Okay.
They want to make a name for themselves, and they're trying to do that by attacking other Christians. The problem with sectarianism is that it makes something that is of secondary importance the primary importance. The people that are sectarian are the kind of people that will say to other Protestant Christians, "You're not a Christian because you talk with Bob." Since when did talking to Bob? I come to you. When did talking to Bob define whether you're a Christian or not? It doesn't. It's got no relevance to the topic. But the sectarian spirit is the kind of spirit that says you're not a Christian because you're willing to work with other Christians. Well, since when did being willing to work with other Christians, even if you don't see them as Christians, define whether you're actually a Christian or not? It doesn't. And that's the problem with sectarianism. It takes what is not important and makes it important, and starts building the faith around secondary, tertiary, quarterly kind of issues. Is that my point? Now, there is no group of Christians here. There's a gelatinous, globulous, gelatine kind of gathering of Christians that kind of support one another, but we're not like an organized group.
That's a good thing.
More organisation and more unity can only be a good thing.
Yeah, that's
But obviously it has to be on ecumenical lines so that it includes Protestants, Catholics and Orthodox.
It is a shame as well with the Catholics and Orthodox fighting.
All right, I'll let make one comment, one question. Go on, sir.
I've seen you
Yeah.
talk about, but you know that the Pope has worshipped Lucifer
Okay.
in the Pope, in the Vatican.
Are you-
And your ministry talked about it, and we don't know who was talking.
Yeah.
We don't know who was talking on other things. I've asked the question: how can you say this guy is a Christian when he worships Lucifer?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer. It's all right. I'm gonna answer the question. Okay.
Yeah.
There is an ancient liturgy in the Latin Rite, in which, in Latin, they use the name Lucifer, but they're referring in its truest sense of the word, which means morning star.
Yeah.
And it's referring. Right, I'm just going to ignore him now because this is the problem of sectarians. Let's take a step this way, guys. Let's take a step this way. Because yeah, please be doing. Stand this way, guys. Stand this way, guys. Because this is the problem. This is the problem with the sectarian spirit, right? How do you think right now? How do you think right now he's helping the kingdom of God? Right? How is he helping the kingdom of God? Raving and ranting, right? This is the problem with the sectarian spirit. They're into personalities. It's all about this person or that person, and he attacks. Right now, how is he helping the kingdom of God here? Right. So the liturgy that he's talking about in Latin uses the term Lucifer, but in the sense of the morning star, which is actually a biblical reference to Jesus. A biblical reference to Jesus, where he is described as the morning star, right? Well, in Latin, you say Lucifer. Yeah? Do you want to see it in the Bible?
You said
Jesus is referred to as the morning star in the Bible. Yeah. Do you?
In which, like, sorry,
Right, let's step more this way, guys. Let's just. Right, and this is the best way to deal with sectarians. The best way to deal with sectarians is to ignore them, because then they go off like this. They show themselves up to be unloving, uncaring, uncharitable, and more so, if you leave the sectarians alone, eventually they just start fighting one another, and they fall out with one another. Yeah, they die. They kill themselves through boredom, right? So you just need to ignore the sectarians. Go on, bro.
Yeah. So, are you talking about you're not talking about like the three wise men or anything, like the stars?
No.
In the sky?
Do you want to look up on Google where it says he is the bright and morning star? It's in Revelations, I think.
I'm just trying to understand what this is.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You found it?
I'm searching it up now. What's the verse?
He is the bright and morning star. Revelations. Go on. If you're going to come here on a regular basis, guys, you've got to be quick at finding your Bible verses.
I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you about these things.
What's the passage, bro?
22:16.
22:16. So in Revelations 22:16, right? And this is the ignorance of the sectarians. In Revelations 22:16, right? It says, yeah. I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you these things for the churches. I am the root and the descendant of David, the bright morning star.
Yeah.
How do you say morning star in Latin? Lucifer. So there's a liturgy in the Catholic Church that uses the term Lucifer. And ignoramuses like this, who don't know their Bible, don't realize that they're quoting this passage.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not interested in trying to defend every aspect of Catholic doctrine. But the point is, if you're going to criticize that Catholic doctrine, at least understand what they're doing.
Do you think the word Lucifer, is that just a word that like it sounds like that in another language and it doesn't mean the same thing like Antichrist?
No, Lucifer.
Are they saying like Antichrist? Or
So Lucifer.
because they said morning star, right?
Yes.
So that's not Lucifer.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So they're not referring to Lucifer.
Okay.
So it's like, what's like? Don't use your real name if you want to keep it private. But what's your name?
Dave.
What?
Dave.
Dave. Do you know the meaning of your name?
I do.
What's the meaning of your name?
It's a Welsh. It's
Just tell me the meaning of your name.
Yeah, like it means like it's from old times. It's from old times in.
What's the meaning
Welsh
of the name?
mythology. It means like it's a name of some kind of a god in a old pagan time.
Beloved of God.
Dave, yeah.
David means beloved of God.
Yes.
Now use beloved of God in a sentence.
I don't know.
This is not difficult. I am beloved of God. Right, brother, you're not good in. Don't come here and do evangelism. Your mind good.
I'm not
Okay,
looking to do
good,
that.
brilliant.
I'm not looking- I'm
Right,
just-
but yeah. So I am beloved of God. So I've taken the meaning of the name David, beloved of God. Thank you, brother, and I put it in a sentence. I am beloved of God. Right, but in some languages, like the original language Hebrew, if I was to say I am beloved of God, I would say whatever in Hebrew and then go David, because that's the meaning of the name David. So in the Catholic liturgy where it uses the name Lucifer, it's quoting Revelations where morning star in Latin is translated as Lucifer. It doesn't mean that Catholics are worshipping Lucifer. This is Protestant ignorance, it's sectarian ignorance. Yeah? There you go. Any other questions or comments, guys, on any aspect of the Christian faith while we're having a conversation? This is your chance.
Yeah. So
Yeah, go
you have a channel, right? SoCo.
No, my channel is not SoCo Films.
Okay.
I'm not supported by SoCo Films.
Okay.
I just appear on SoCo Films.
Okay.
My channel is Bobber Speaker's Corner.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
So,
so-
what is SoCo?
SoCo just means Soldiers of Christ Online.
Okay. Online.
Yeah. So the thing is, if we want to do effective evangelism, we've got to use social media. People don't go onto the street to learn things, right? Where do you go when you want to learn something? You go on the internet. What do you look up? Google and YouTube. So where do Christians need to be? YouTube and Google and TikTok and Instagram. That's how we evangelize.
Are you saying most people? Because I'm sure that there's some people in this park that go
The
to learn
absolute vast majority of people that have access to the internet look for information on the internet. Christians have this fetish about shouting on the streets because we think we're evangelizing. That is a terrible way to do evangelism. Don't do that. If you want to do effective evangelism, have conversations with people. Take a table, bring some good Christian books, put out the good Christian books. Have a little sign saying, discover the real Jesus, or Jesus was a Jew, or Jesus was the Messiah, or explore Christianity, or discover Christianity, and then talk to people about the things that they want to talk about. You know, the reason why loads of people come and talk to me every Sunday is because I talk to them about the things they want to talk about, not the things I want to talk about. I often let you guys lead the conversations, and so it brings in people. Christians have this fetish that what we need to do is we need to give a 4-pillar gospel presentation. You're a sinner, hell is bad, judgment is coming, and Jesus saves. And we try to shoehorn that into every kind of conversation. As if we don't say it, somehow we're not evangelizing. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. If you talk to people about the topics that they want to talk about, and you show how Christian teaching is effective, how it has utility, how it has meaning and depth and significance, whatever the question, whatever the topic, in my experience, if you do that and lift up Jesus and encourage a person to explore and discover who Jesus is, and they agree to do that, very often they come across the crucifixion and the resurrection and they embrace it without argument. And I have countless examples of people that have done that.
I understand. So are you, because you went into the in-person and the online, because originally you were saying that most people, like the vast majority, are online, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm listening.
You yourself are here in person as well. So are you, so what were you saying is in terms of like, should people be in person or should they be online?
So if you're going to do in-person evangelism, make it conversational.
Okay, but you don't think that's the best way anyways?
No, right. Sorry, let me clarify.
Okay.
I've got nothing against in-person evangelism.
Yeah.
What I'm against is Christians thinking that the way to evangelize is to preach.
Okay.
Right? That's not an effective way to do evangelism. You do evangelism by having conversations, by winning discussion points, by convincing someone of the utility and the reality of Christian truth. That's how you win people to Christ.
Do you think there's any reason that these people go towards preaching? Is there some reason?
Yes, they do. It's because we fetishize the 1700s. Like there were, in a time when preaching was effective, the time of John Wesley, the time of Spurgeon, right? We fetishize that period. And so a lot of Christians, when they try to interpret the Bible, they imagine the 1700s, right? That's not really how Paul did his evangelism. He often did his evangelism in houses. Do you think he was shouting at the top of his voice in a house? He went to the Areopagus, and I'm probably mispronouncing that Greek word, and he debated the Greek philosophers. He went to the synagogue and he debated the Jews. Discussion and debate is actually how Paul did his evangelism. Very rarely, and there are examples of open-air preaching in the Bible. I'm not denying it. I'm not saying it's bad, because clearly Peter preached in the open air and the apostles preached in the open air. And there's examples of Paul doing the same as well, right? But that's actually not the majority of the way that evangelism was done.
Are you saying that these houses, were these actually like...
They were homes.
So
they were houses.
Were these like churches, like synagogues?
No, they were homes.
And stuff like that?
They were houses.
Just regular people's houses?
Yes.
Or were these people like...
They were homes.
People would gather in these houses?
They were houses. They were homes.
Oh, so just people like knocking on people's doors?
Yeah, the early church didn't have buildings.
Yeah.
Right, if you know anything about Roman culture, Roman civilization, What used to happen is there used to be these blocks of flats that people were in, right? People used to live in blocks of flats. So in the story of, in the book of Acts, there's this story about someone who falls out of a window and dies, right? It's because they were meeting in these blocks of flats and someone was sat on a windowsill and he fell asleep, right? Below these blocks of flats, there sometimes used to either be flats or shops. These were the early churches. When Christians were kicked out of the synagogue, and after the temple was destroyed, these flats and these shops became the early church.
Because these Christians were under persecution at the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when he was preaching, would he go to... Also, synagogues were also kicked out, is what you're saying. So
Yeah,
the Jews were also kicked
so
out.
Paul, while ever he was able, used to go to the synagogues. And he used to debate in the synagogues. But what he wasn't doing is going into a synagogue and shouting his head off.
Okay, yeah.
Right? We Christians have fetishized the 1700s because in the 1700s there was a particular kind of evangelism that worked. It was effective. The Great Awakening in America, in the northern states of America, the first Great Awakening in the northern states, and the second Great Awakening in the southern states, both occurred because of preaching. The Welsh revival occurred because of preaching. But it happened in a different context, in a culture in which public speaking was an art form and a form of entertainment. That is not our world today.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So we need to adapt our forms of evangelism to the context and the culture we're in.
So, and you believe that that is online stuff?
The online is where the street is.
Okay.
Online is where people go.
Yeah.
How many people go to your church on a Sunday?
About like maybe 50, 45.
50, 45?
Yeah.
I do one video on here. Within a week, 2,000 people have seen it.
Okay.
Where are people going to find information?
Most of them would go online.
There you go. So why, as Christians, are we not adopting this new technology? Why, as Christians, are we not using it to reach out to people?
I think it's good to use, but also if someone's just online, right, it might not change their overall life that much because they might watch something online, but then they don't have a real way to meet people.
I'm not talking about doing online churches.
Okay.
I'm against online
No,
churches.
I wasn't saying that. I was saying like people who are learning about stuff online.
Yeah.
That's good, but what if they want to make friends in real life as well?
Yeah, we're talking about evangelism.
Okay.
So it's not about discipleship, though discipleship works as well. It's about evangelism. And evangelism needs to be done online. That's where Christians need to be working.
Because it's the most effective.
Yes, it's about applying wisdom to the question. Yeah.
So, like, if someone watches your videos online, what do you think the next thing they should do in real life would be? Like,
Depends. Are they convinced?
yeah,
If they're convinced,
they're convinced.
I mean, I'll tell you exactly what I tell people. Because every single week, every single day, I'm getting messages of people who are becoming Christians because of what I'm doing. Every day. Every single day. How many people came and became Christian in your church in the last month?
Not that many.
Right.
Yeah.
Using my email inbox as evidence,
Yeah.
in the work that I'm doing this month, about 40 to 30 people became Christian because of what I'm doing.
And what are they?
And here's what I advise them all to do.
Okay.
I advise them to go and join a Christian fellowship.
Okay. In real life, in just a regular church or whatever.
Is there another way to join a Christian fellowship? Of course there isn't.
Okay.
Yes, in real life. I was being sarcastic.
No worries, man.
Yeah.
So, are these people mostly in the UK or from all around? Or
Most of them are in the UK, but then the second greatest number is America.
so you see yourself as a link in a chain where
Yes.
the church can handle it from there.
Yes.
You're just evangelizing to people online.
Yeah.
Which leads them into the church.
Yeah.
And then, do you think there's any like
Christians like you
Yeah.
need to be linked to evangelists like me.
Okay.
Because lots of Christians don't know how to defend their faith. I want to encourage you all, get connected to a Christian apologist. Get connected to a Christian apologist so that a Christian apologist can help you to do evangelism better.
Can you describe what an apologist is?
An apologist is someone that demonstrates the reasonableness of Christian beliefs or actions. He's someone who demonstrates that Christianity makes sense. A lot of Christians, they don't know how to do apologetics. They don't know how to defend the faith. And they're not networked, right? We as Christians, we need to network better. You know, the Muslims, when they befriend someone, they eventually take that someone to go and speak to a Muslim scholar. Why aren't we as Christians doing that? There are Christian scholars. As Christians, you should be networked to Christian scholars so that when you meet your friend who's an agnostic, an atheist, or a Muslim, and he asks, you know, and you've got that conversation as far as you can take it, that you can then say, I know a scholar who'll be able to answer you all your questions, or most of your questions. And then you take him to a scholar who can advance the conversation beyond what you can advance him. And that's how, as Christians, we need to be working.
What kind of scholars exist now for Christians?
I'm one.
Okay.
David Woody's one.
Okay.
And when I say, right, actually, let me take that back. I'm not a scholar. I'm an educated layman, an apologist. But there are scholars like N.T. Wright, like Dr. James White, like anyone who's basically got a doctor in front of their name and who is doing apologetics. These are scholars. And then beneath those scholars, you've got people like me, layman amateurs, who know more than you and can address lots more questions. If I get stuck, I go to the scholar. You could also go directly to the scholar, but I'm more accessible than any doctor.
I was going to say it's quite hard to contact someone like that on that level, right?
But laymen's like me, we are more accessible.
So what is SOCO then? Can you describe that again, like how that would play into this?
Soldiers of Christ Online. We witness online, we evangelize online, we debate online, we put up content online. And it is speaking to tens of thousands of people, and lots of people, hundreds of people a year are becoming Christians. Why wouldn't the church want hundreds of people to become Christians? And if we do want hundreds of people to become Christians, why aren't we using methodologies that work? Why are we obsessing about methodologies that fail and don't work? We've got to change our churchianity. Does that make sense?
Yes. So do you have a way for Christians to contact you?
Yeah, have I given you a card?
Yeah, you gave me my card.
There you go.
Is there a more like, because I wasn't aware of this, like I saw your channel as a Christian. I didn't look into it that much, but maybe like I wasn't really aware that I could talk to these people and like you said before, like be able to defend the Christian faith. Because did you say that regular Christians should be able to defend it? Or
yes.
Okay, yeah.
The apostles teach that you should be able to capture every thought that sets itself up against Jesus Christ. The apostles teach that you should be able to give an answer for the hope that you have in speaking in gentleness. So the apostles teach us that all of us should be able to defend the faith to some intellectual level. But lots of Christians and lots of churches don't teach apologetics, which means they're not enacting or putting into effect apostolic teaching. If you're going to a church that isn't teaching apologetics, you're going to a church that isn't applying everything that the Bible teaches. You don't need to be an expert apologist yourself, but your church should be teaching apologetics, and you should be able to learn answers on how to defend the Christian faith.
Have you seen in Catholic churches there will be a area in the front where there's many different pamphlets, many different groups and things that other people put there?
No, Catholic churches are even worse than Protestant churches. Like I'm saying that Protestant churches are bad at apologetics. Catholic churches are even worse. They're even worse. And actually, all of our churches, whether they're Protestant, Catholic, or Orthodox, they could all do with a kick up the ass to do better at teaching apologetics.
What I'm asking is, there's a place that people put different advertisements for different things that would go along with the Catholic Church, like groups and stuff. Have you considered putting small like advertisements to talk to a scholar, like you said, and be able to defend the Christian faith?
Bro, I've got my own YouTube channel. I put adverts up all the time. On my YouTube channel.
What about in the church? Because
How many people are going to see an advert in a church?
what?
How many people are going to see an advert in a church?
Well, not many, but
Right.
Yeah.
I put an advert up on my YouTube channel, and it's seen by thousands of people. So which is the more effective way to reach people?
what's the conversion rate of those 1,000 people
To what?
to people who are very interested and respond to your advert and say, I want to learn more about the what you're trying to say. Like, I want to learn more about how to defend the Christian faith.
Making up a number off the top of my head with no actual statistical analysis, 3%. But what's 3% of 1,000?
30.
What's 3% of 10?
3.
How am I going to reach more people? All right.
I see.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, do you think that since people that go to church all the time are really into the faith?
Brother, do you, right,
Yeah.
like, I want to try and start drawing a line under this conversation.
No worries. Yeah.
I've laid out my argument for why Christians should use online activity.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Then our conversation has ended.
Okay.
Peace be with you, brother.
Thank you.
Because I want to talk to non-Christians.
No worries, man.
And this conversation, like, if
Can
you
I
agree
send
with
you
me,
a message?
if I won you over to what I'm saying, then we don't need to labor this point. You're exhausting the point.
No worries, man.
Like, you just keep going on about it, and we're on the same
Mind if I
page.
send you a message?
No, everyone else in the world that I give my card to can send me a message, but I gave you my card. You specifically can't. Of course you can.
All right.
Right, any other questions, guys, before I move on? I don't believe in denominations. Any other questions before I move on? Sorry? Sorry? Yes, of course. There you go. They're great. Not in their every pronouncement, no. But they are like a safe harbor that we as Christians should not run away from. They're a safe place for us to go. If we get lost theologically, returning to the ecumenical councils is a safeguard from us losing our way. But I wouldn't say they're infallible in their every pronouncement. So for instance, the Ecumenical Council of Nicaea says that it's anathema to pray without candles. I don't think someone's a heretic because they don't use candles. Do you know what I'm saying? But I do believe that it was right for the church to say that at the time. You know, the Jerusalem Council said don't eat meat with blood in it. In a context in which people used to eat animals sacrificed to idols, that made a lot of sense because the blood was sacrificed. Yeah, don't drink blood because it was it was connected to pagan worship. But that doesn't exist anymore. It was certainly not here in the West that we know of. And so that prohibition, does it really apply? You see my point? So
What would you respond to people who would say, for instance, Ephesus is Miaphysite and then Chalcedon contradicts that and is Diaphysite?
yeah, I would say that they're right, and I would say that Christians can hold both positions. Chalcedon is a commentary on Ephesus, but it's not the only possible commentary on Ephesus. And I think most academics agree that Miaphysites and Diophysites are actually saying the same thing, but just in two different words. Yes, I do.
But do you not think that Miaphysite...
Brother, I want to be clear though, I'm not interested in interdenominational debate. It doesn't concern me. If you've got questions on this, go and either speak to a Miaphysite or go speak to a Diophysite. I'm interested in, as Christians, us evangelizing non-Christians. Yeah? I just don't have an interest in this topic, and I don't think right here, right now, is the best place, the wise place to have that conversation. Yeah? Join me for a coffee afterwards, we'll talk there. Any other questions or comments before I move on? Right. Have you got a question? No. Okay, I'm going to go to the loo and then I'm... Thanks be to God. Here, bro.
We have spoke one time.
Okay, have you got my card?
We have spoke one time. You give me book.
Yeah, I remember talking to you. How you doing?
I am
Good to see you.
Remember?
Yeah.
You're a very
Yeah.
good teacher.
Yeah.
You know how to speak, you know,
Good to see you again.
You have good communication.
Yeah. Have you got any questions about Christianity you'd like to ask?
To be honest, I'm still reading Quran.
Okay. Have you read that book? It's
You're
okay.
not answering.
Have you got it? So, for instance, if the Quran has contradictions in it, would you reject it?
There are things that I don't like.
Yes, I know.
I don't have told you, but
Yeah, I know.
don't want to go
Okay,
far.
fair enough. But read that book that I gave you, right, and come back and ask me your question. I'd love to hear your question sometime. Yeah? Read the book I gave you. I forget which book did I give you even?
You give me one green one,
Yeah.
one small one.
The Gospel.
Yes.
It was a Gospel. Have a read of that and come back with your questions. Do you have any off the top of your head?
Next week I will start to read this one and
Yeah.
I'll come to ask you something.
I love that. Okay, I look forward to that conversation. God bless you. Have a lovely day.